Good morning, Dogs White here once again, and today's video is a follow-up and update to the Return of the Magic Smoke video. I'll provide a link up here in the upper right-hand corner. The background on this is I run EG4 100 amp charge controllers, a pair of them, and I've had a failure twice now on the lower one. It always fails at the connector there where your PV wire hooks on to their connector. So they were using ferrules on there, and we don't know if the ferrules were the cause or not. But I got the replacement unit installed a couple days after I got it, received it, and in the process I found out some interesting things. Somebody from the Do-It-Yourself Solar Farm was considering the units and wanted to know what I thought or if I had any update, and I shared that information privately. But this video has been, footage has been done quite a while, but I've waited probably now, it's probably been 5-6 months, maybe longer, that I've had this running and I haven't had any issues. So if you like what you see here, hit the like button, subscribe. I got more content coming. I'm currently in the middle of my shop build, and that's a very interesting project. More stuff coming, and let's get started. So I've been running this direct, and this is my Krypton terminal. I don't see anything there that would indicate any heating. But looking here at the spade connector, if I can get it in here, there it is. And I'm seeing a little something there, and I don't know what that is. But it could have been from before too, I don't know. More concerned about the solder job behind it, but here's the other terminal, and I don't see nothing there either. So I think I'm going to wire it up direct. I'm not certain if I'm going to swap out the inverter or the charge controllers from top to bottom or not. I might just wire it direct and see where I end up. So later. So this is a replacement charge controller, and the negative terminal here looks the same as the other one. So I would say it's not an overheating issue. So this way it's documented. If I have trouble with this and I pull it off, then I'll know it was overheating. And here's the other one. Yep. So most likely they just didn't tint it all the way or something. Don't know. Later. Okay, so I'm doing the wiring on this here, and I'm looking at this breaker, and this is where it really is weird. They're running the positive wire in here. Okay, this is a polarized breaker. They're coming out here, form a loop, and then it come back in here, and then it comes out the top. Now, why isn't the negative here, the black wire, and coming out here up to my terminal up there, and the positive wire here should have been over here? Now, I changed this up at the shop. I was going to run 10 gauge wire all the way in there, but as I'm putting in my wire here, I'm like, that don't make any sense. You know, why aren't they running the breaker like it should be? So I think I'm going to change it here, and I'm going to snip off my black wire and run it into here and down here and move this wire over to here where it belongs. So be back later. Well, that was certainly interesting. So I now have my negative coming out of the top here, and my positive comes out here. Remember, this is a polarized breaker, and it was marked as such, and then I ran my negative here on the right terminal and the positive. Now I've ran wire all the way, and I've taken their 14 gauge wire out of here and put my own terminals on, and I guess we'll see what happens. But just getting ready to close it up. This PV wire, the positive, is run all the way from the IMO, brand new. So, and then I had run a negative wire all the way from the IMO too, so I'm bypassing this connector now. Interesting side note on the wires, and I'll show them to you here next. Well, let's look at our wires here. Okay, they had this one here is your positive. It comes from that connector that always burns up. And you know, it has a ferrule on it, but it's kind of flat, but not too flat. The other end has a spade terminal on it, which is interesting. Then we go to this one. This was your loop that went from one half the breaker to the other half. Don't ask me why. Spade on each end, see? Next one is from the breaker to the PCB. It's flat on one end and then just a female spade on the other end. And this is the one that always burns up. Of course, it's a female spade on that end. But I noticed on this one, look how flat they flattened that ferrule out. So obviously they were crimping them on, and either they found out there was trouble, or when it was being assembled, because the other ones have never been this flat, they've probably been flattening them out. So either somebody else has been putting them together and then they change people or something, and whoever it is actually flattens it out before they install it. But it don't matter because it ain't in there anymore. I'm putting all 10 gauge wire in. Put these in a bag, and I guess I gotta send them back. I'll send them back if the inverter fails again, or the charge controller fails again. So later. So as you can see by the video there, yeah, I would have redesigned this whole thing, you know, if I was them. What I would have done is I would have ran where the customer's PV wires run into it. I'd have had them run directly into the breaker. I'd have moved my breaker to the front, had a panel there where you could pull it off so that way you could access the screws to tighten instead of mounting it on the side. And I think a lot of this problem would have been eliminated. Now, I still have the upper charge controller. Haven't done anything with that since the day I installed it. That basically is, I'm leaving it there for control. I do plan on checking that out here with the thermal camera and just seeing if I come up with any hot spots there, but really I haven't seen anything. I do know that the bottom one maybe a lot of times puts out 20 watts difference, you know, not a big deal, you know. So I'm just waiting. I'm going to update here as time goes on. You know, you might see an update 3-4 months from now, but at this point I haven't had any trouble, and I'm not expecting any trouble. I think wiring it direct to the breaker and using both sides of the polarized breaker as it was intended is probably the answer. And then I'm also replacing the 14 gauge wire with 10 gauge THHN that is rated at 105C, and I don't expect an issue there. So like I said, I got more content coming. Keep watching, hit that like and subscribe button, and share this video. We appreciate it. Thanks. Later.